Hey everybody, this is Ashley with Publish with Ashley, and thank you so much for being here for my live. Today we're going to talk about, I said on my announcement on the show notes or whatever, mail two niches, but we're actually going to talk about three niches because when I was doing research for one, I kind of found extra info and it's kind of a separate niche, but yet it's related. And so I wanted to show you both of them. So we're actually going to talk about three. And the first one is, I want to call it like medium to not really high. It is sort of high content in the sense that it's not a lot of words, but it's a lot of thought maybe. And it's definitely a different type of book, but it's not a lot of writing. It is a lot of thinking kind of. And the other ones they're kind of graphic intensive, but the thing is, what I love about the kind of more specific, more medium content books where you're really putting effort into them is they're so much easier to identify yourself and stand out in your market. And then that way you can, be different. You can create up, how I've talked to you guys. If you haven't seen it, I will put a marker up there about my Q4, Q4 challenge and creating kind of that product line where you have lots of products that your customers want to come back and buy. Because they can see if they like one book of yours, then you've already sold them on one, you have the opportunity to sell them on another book. And so if you're really focusing on an audience, there's things that you can give them. So I wanted to add these to your thoughts and ideas because I think once you have some sort of audience or established thing, these are great niches as far as interior ideas that you can still use for your market. So I'll explain. Remember in my Q4 challenge, I had talked about camping, right? So that'll make more sense later, but I want those who haven't seen it yet, I had talked about camping in my example. So let's go into the niches. Here, I'm sorry, I want to see comments. So let me just change my thing. Okay. All right, so let me share my screen. All right, this is it's a really creative and different. And I have to admit, if you aren't willing to put in some time and effort, this probably isn't the book for you, but I think it is such a cool idea. I want to share you all. I have a lot of ideas for actually this niche and something I wanted to do eventually when I get the time. So this is called, if you haven't done an escape room is they put you in a room and then there's all these puzzles you have to solve to get out. And so I was thinking, because I just did an escape room a little while ago with my family, what if there was an escape room in the book? And so I got thinking about this and I found this book on Amazon. It's unique in the sense it's the only one I saw like this. And it's selling. And they definitely can sell it for a higher price point, but it is graphic intense. Let me kind of show you what it is. So it's Escape This Book, and it basically has these pages. You start out in the courtyard and you have to solve a mystery to decide where in the book you need to go. Like, do you need to go from the courtyard to the West Tower, to the stables? I think the first one, the answer, I sat and looked at it, I think the answer is the West Tower. So then you would go to the West Tower page and you'd solve the thing there. And then eventually you get to find it. The interesting thing about this book is there was a lot of comments that they liked it, but there was a lot of people who decided they didn't like that there wasn't directions. And so I think this is something you could definitely do. You could either find or buy some graphics that give you kind of this feel like they just had like a courtroom or not courtroom, a courtyard and a throne room and various rooms. You could have somebody draw these for you, maybe find some graphics. You can maybe make your own setup. And then you solve little puzzles. Like this one has a 7, if you can see it. And then there was like notes in the hay. And then I think you're supposed to go to the West Tower. I think that was what it was. But you could create something like this that's pretty cool. You basically make a mystery for the person. People in the US really like escape rooms. And I think you could really do some interesting things. So some of my ideas with this, you can definitely look into this, The Cursed Castle, an escape room in a book. The thing I think you could do is you could use QR codes and you could send people to, places on the internet or YouTube channels or public domain things and give clues there. So there's a lot of ways that you could even make this like a digital escape room. And I think if you were creative, people would really get into stuff like this because people love to be challenged. People love a mystery and to solve things. And I think this would be something that you could really build a whole brand around. And like I said, this is probably like content, not that you have to write a lot, but it does require kind of some thinking through how you're going to do something like this. But there's a lot of great ideas that you could use. I was even thinking, how would you do a QR scavenger hunt in a book? I have to sit down and really think about it. It's one of my, I'm going to do a video on it once I kind of map it out in my head, how you might do something like that, just to kind of give people ideas. There are so many things you can do that are interesting and fun with books. And if you get a new idea, something kind of interesting and different, you can sell it for a higher price point. You have such better advertising because you can sell it for a higher price point. And it's something unique, right? Okay, so that was that one. And then I wanted to show you this. This is on the same line. It's called Escape This Book. This is a lot more detailed, but there's a whole series called Escape This Book. You should look into it, but let's see. Let me show you his whole series, if it's going to think about it. But he has like a whole series. Escape This Book, Tombs of Egypt, Escape Titanic. He's doing a lot of, oh, it didn't take me to his anyway, he has a whole bunch of these. For some reason, it didn't take me to the author page when I hit it, the thing. Usually it does. Anyway, but he has a whole bunch. Oh, here's Escape This Book, Race to the Moon. So he's a lot of different things. So what I was thinking with that is you could make definitely themed escape rooms. He does history type events, Titanic, Egypt, all sorts of different things. But there's definitely themes you can do on this, and you can pick a popular theme. Like, I don't know, help the unicorn escape from the world back to the magic land, right? Kids would really get into something like that, helping a unicorn escape, right? You could make it a lot more fun and take popular ideas on trending topics and create something really unique. And it does take more time, I agree, but I think you can sell something at a higher price point and something different. So there you are. That's my thought on that. Now, so that was kind of the more complex one. Now here's the 2-for-1 bonus. I was actually doing some research. Let me answer some questions before I go to the next one. It's pretty much, hello, everybody. Hello, JJ, Donna, Katie, Sophia, Pamela, and Harsh. It's probably like something not with the H, right? Sorry, my pronunciation. I totally failed phonics in English. Okay, so this one, spot the differences. This is so fun. These, if you have any sort of little graphic background, these can be really, really fun. I found kind of the typical for the adult ones is like 100 pages, but when you think you could either do like top and bottom, you'll have to kind of look how these are. It's 2 pictures, and if you can kind of see, there's 2 pictures and there's differences. This is probably the easiest one to see because you can kind of see the circle. So they've added differences. Now, this is something you can do in black and white. This is something you could do in color. The color ones you probably want to sell for a little more and not use the premium, but use the cheaper color printing. But this is definitely something you could do. And the kids spot the different ones. You definitely want in color, I think. And you definitely want to do, they'd be a lot less pages. Because kids, you don't need quite as many pages. But what I thought was cool about this, there's so many ideas that you can do. This one, for example, you could pick, I know public domain is, it's good and bad. I think you can use public domain in amazing ways. And this is a good way to use it. You take a public domain art piece, then you add extra things and have spot the difference. That is perfectly legal in Amazon because you were creating a completely different experience with your public domain, public domain pictures or public domain materials. This is something completely different. It's perfectly legal and Amazon will be happy because really you are changing the public domain to make it something. You're making it a game in the sense, or a puzzle in this sense, to spot the differences, and you're adding definitely something different and a different purpose for the art. So this is something, the great thing public domain can use. Like you can have public domain pictures that are just out there on the internet. This you can see is Spot the differences for adults. These are kids. Let's see, picture ones, right? So you just get public domain pictures or pictures you've taken yourself. I have a bunch of pictures of like outdoors. So like I was saying, remember I was talking about building a product line. So camping, right? What if I did one of these with all my camping photos? I have a ton of photos of, like, I'm always shooting pictures of the, mountains or scenes or wherever we go camping. I have thousands of photos. So I could literally take my own photos and put, basically change them up and put them into a book and then sell them as part of, the brand I'm creating. Because if my audience likes camping, they really might or they might like spot the differences with camping materials. So your audience is maybe, you've got to think of what your audience likes and then the different subsections of your audience. Like not everyone is going to like camping and finding puzzles, but there is a subsection. But there's also probably some people who just want to do spot the differences with outside pictures because they like looking at pictures of the outdoors. So it's not necessarily camping, but yet you're still going to get people from both like genres, both people like audiences interested in a book. And that's why I like to take things and put them together, not just like one subject. You put two subjects together to find two niches. So spot the difference in camping, right? So you can sub niche down basically. Okay. I'm going to look into these number search books. This was kind of interesting. I was looking into that while I saw this ad. Maybe we'll do a different video on that. But look at this one. This is Spot the Difference book for adults' backyards. Okay. And it's doing pretty well at 227,000 for pictures of people's backyards. Okay. So there is an audience for this. There is a lot of different things. This one, okay, so this one, Spot the Difference, Wild West. I actually have this one opened up. And what I loved about this is think about, how I'm into my, travel journal of Paris that I always tell everybody about, like focus on, if you're going to make an interior, focus on something specific. What about a spot the difference of different cities that people travel and go to as tourists? It serves two purposes. If you can get pictures of a city, then that they're going to go visit, they get to see scenery and pictures from that city. So that's interesting. Kind of, they can look at it before they go. And then it's that puzzle niche, right? And it's something they can bring with them and they can do when they're there. So there's like, people when they go and travel and go somewhere they're going to spend a lot of money to go to, they're willing to buy things like this, a $10 book of Spot the Differences, so that they can, experience the experience more fully. So there's ways that you can niche down. And I wanted to show this, like Spot the Difference West, right? It's Wild West photos and it's Spot the Difference. There are so many things you can niche down with this. And it can actually be a niche that maybe if you're already doing well in a specific niche, you can add this type of interior to that niche and, advertise it to your audience that maybe you already have, or advertise it the backs of the books that are already selling for you. And maybe they'll be interested in something like this. So I think this is a really great idea. Okay, let me get some comments. What software to use for kids' activity books? I actually do. I'm making a kids' activity book right now, and I am building it in PowerPoint, but I am using, it's in my show notes. I am using the Maze software and the word search and the cryptogram. If you already have BookBolt and PuzzleWiz, they have a lot of those puzzles too. And BookBolt has a great puzzle program too. I just, the ones which if you look on my show notes, the BookBolt is on there and there's a 20% discount, but it actually, I like both of them. Right now I'm using the Maze one and the word search one that I have listed because it's working really well with PowerPoint for me for right now. And it kind of works with the system I have. But that's what I use because I really like them. I think they're easy to use. The escape books remind me of the Horrible History series. That's true. I kind of thought that too. What is it? Like all those history series books. Yeah. But maybe that's not your thing, but I thought you could do escape this, well, you can't use escape this book, right? That would be trademarked. I'm seeing the concept, right? Look at the concept, not necessarily the exact wording, because that's, keep yourself out of trouble. But the concept of trying to solve a puzzle through the book, to escape it, or to solve the ultimate puzzle is kind of what I'm looking at. All right, so here's my 2 for 1. So while doing spot the difference, another keyword I was thinking about, because I'm always thinking about how would people type in spot the difference is pretty common, but I thought, what about search and find? Now, search and find, I did find out it's not really a synonym for the same type of book. It's actually a separate kind of book. It's that, find 5 dogs, or find it for the kids ones. My kids love these. It has a picture of like 10 little pictures, like a dog, a cat, a sun, toothpaste, whatever. And then they have to look for those in the picture. So my kids really love these, but that's more search and find. But it's still that same concept of taking, I wanted to show you the idea of niching down. So you could do a search and find like Halloween, Christmas, maybe, you could definitely do Thanksgiving, but I would probably go fall, search and find fall. So you get a bigger season than just Thanksgiving. And it's a little easier, I think, to make pictures for. Oh, here's the one I wanted to show you. Where's the unicorn now? So this is that, take a trendy topic, like unicorns, and you have to go find the unicorns in the picture. So you could do something really similar with any sort of, find the sloth, find the, whatever the big trending thing is, that you could do something like that. To sub niche it down, because people are looking not only for search and find, but they're looking for something as a gift, probably for, a person or a kid or whoever, but they have an interest. And if they can find a search and find book about, like my daughter would love this, search and find unicorns. Like seriously, that would be her dream come true. She loves the Elsa one we have with Frozen. So this one would be good too. She would love that. So here's search and find ocean animals. So there's lots of things you can do that kind of niche down. You don't just want search and find book for kids. That's just not focused enough for a niche. I really want people to understand this. You want to niche down. So pick an interior, say search and find, and then pick something you're going to focus down. Search and find for kids. Search and find for kids who love sharks. Okay. Search and find for kids who love unicorns. You want to sub niche it down to look for a specific type audience. And then as your audience, it's like you find that kid who likes search and find for sharks, right? That you find that kid, Amazon's going to start boosting it up. So you just found the kid who likes search and find for sharks. But now as it's selling, Amazon's going to start showing it to search and find for kids, right? A big market. And, if kids really like search and find stuff, they're going to be like, oh yeah, my kid would like sharks. Their favorite thing is, I don't know what their favorite thing is. Maybe their favorite thing is just sea animals, but sharks fits that. So yeah, I'd be okay with getting him to search and find for sharks because he'd probably like that. He likes all sea animals. So you're starting to widen out as you start to make sales. So if you focus down at first, you're going to start to get sales with your specific audience, and then it'll, build up and get to bigger audiences. And that's really what you want. So that's a really good idea. Okay, so let me go back to questions. Are there any courses that help you how to teach you how to make these types of books? I don't know. Probably no. I don't know. How would you make these books? I've always wanted to sit down and show you guys the niches and then show you how I would make these books, because anything I show you, I can picture how to make. Does that make sort of some sense? I may not have made it before, but I know how I would go about making it. And there would definitely be some roadblocks along the way that I'd maybe have to figure out. But I love to figure things out. Hopefully after Q4, I've got 3 books I have to get finished for Q4, and they're taking me about 2 weeks for the interior. and I want them done by the middle of October. So I'm going to cut it really close. But hopefully after I get kind of all the stuff ready for Q4, I can start doing that, because I would love to show you guys the niche ideas and the crazy ideas I have, and then how to go about doing these, because I think that would be really helpful for everyone. It is kind of time consuming, but I don't know of anyone teaching that specifically, but it is just, if this makes any sense, layering graphics upon graphics. So that's kind of what takes time, finding the graphics and then layering it. Let's see. Does repeating keywords in the subtitles affect your ranking? You shouldn't repeat keywords anywhere. Try and not repeat any keywords. Don't repeat them from your title and your subtitle. Try and use a synonym. So if you're using journal, don't use journal again. Use like diary, guide, something like that. I never repeat keywords. Now, words like the, of, sure, in a title, you can repeat those. But actual like keywords, no, I don't repeat anything. Unless I accidentally do it. But definitely the title and subtitle, I never repeat, because that's really easy to see. I might miss in my keyword boxes repeating something just because you do. But I try not to repeat anything. Okay, now I wanted to show you one more thing. I pulled up Publisher Rocket because I think Publisher Rocket is pretty cool. Something to note, kind of ignore these monthly earnings. I know it's very tempting to look at these, but until you click into the details, I find these are kind of deceptive because I just find they're deceptive. Not intentionally deceptive, because once you click into the details, if you have this tool, you see what it is, but I think the roll up is a little deceptive. So I'm sorry, just ignore that. So this, like I said, I started with Spot the Difference. And so Spot the Difference books, and you can see there's a decent amount of searches, and it's not all that competitive right this moment. There's Spot the Differences just in general. But like here's Spot the Difference Halloween. There is less than 100 searches, which isn't surprising since Halloween stuff is going to start to kick up here at about a week. But it's not that competitive. So a lot of what I'm trying to say is I was really trying to show you that if you niche down in some of these kind of more difficult to make interiors, you can be like the first in the market because nobody else is doing that. So these are opportunities that, and I don't want to say they won't last forever. I think the bigger things like Halloween, Christmas, stuff like that probably won't last forever. But there's going to be a million opportunities for Spot the Difference koala bears, Spot the Difference camping, Spot the Difference mountain scenes, Spot the Difference. Now, if someone likes Spot the Difference backyards like we saw, there's a lot of pictures of backyards out there in the world. And if they buy one backyard pitch, they might buy another. So even if you have competition like Spot the Difference Halloween, once they've done the puzzles, they might want to buy another one because they really like it. So the opportunity for puzzle goers is to, you can sell the same type of puzzle book to the same person because it is technically different puzzles. So there's that opportunity too. Spot the Difference for kids, Spot the Difference, you wouldn't do Spiral Bound. But these are just kind of to show you the different types that this came up with. But here's what I wanted to show you with the search and find. Search and find is apparently a much more developed niche because look at all these things. Search and find monsters. Why couldn't you do Spot the Difference monsters? Why couldn't you do Spot the Difference national parks? Why couldn't you do Spot the Difference numbers? So something like this that is a popular niche that is fairly close. Search and find is slightly different than Spot the Difference, but they are a group that I would enjoy both, right? Like I like these visual type puzzles. So I would probably like either. So you can take a niche that maybe like Spot the Difference that isn't as developed and use another niche that's a little more developed for ideas of what is popular. Like, oh, what's this one? Oh, that's just search and find puzzle. Let's find a good one here. Let's see. How about this one? Oh, that's an apps. That's not very useful for what I'm trying to talk about. Search and find toddler book. No, maybe this one. Search and find for 5-year-olds. Okay. So you could create spot the difference for 5-year-olds, right? If that's a popular niche in search and find, it might be a very popular niche in spot the difference. So those are some ideas that you can do. And I just want you to see how niching down, right? Really focusing on a target can help you build momentum to become one of these books. So you know, like I said, you start in search and find unicorn, right? Okay, here's one: search and find unicorn. Okay, there's less than 100 searches per month, but the competition's 30. I honestly think that could be a really good. We saw that one; it was doing well, and if my daughter would like more search and find unicorn books, right? Like one, you know, once they love it, they want another one. So I would be that parent you could sell 2 of them to. As long as they were different puzzles, I'd probably buy 2, right? Because my kid likes unicorns and they love the search and find stuff. And as a parent, I love the idea that they're looking and trying to solve something using their brains, right? So I love that sort of stuff. Okay, hopefully that's helpful. Okay, let me see what we got here for questions. I'll let you guys see. I'll take that off. You know, if I go back to being all me. Okay. Sorry. I'm such a dork. I know you get me live, so that's what y'all get. Okay. Oh, are there any unsaturated logbook niches left out there? Probably. I'm sure there are. I don't know half the sports of the world, half the I think the more specific you get, the better you're going to be. Like people need to log. I know there's a million medical conditions out there, literally, probably a million medical conditions. So do some research into different types of medical conditions that require a log, and then make a log specific for that. That's probably one out there that is not saturated at all. And even if so yesterday I actually saw somebody made an exercise logbook and they just sold 10 copies and got a 5-star review. So this was a new person. And you know, if you know anything about exercise logbooks, there are so many exercise logbooks out there. But this is someone new who wrote a new logbook, and I don't know what they did different with their logbook, but they sold 10 and got a 5-star rating. So, you know, it's possible even in a saturated market to sell books. In a saturated market, I think your best bet is to create the audience, right? How you create the audience, it can be lots of ways. You could start with maybe not a logbook, but like that whole idea of building a brand focused around a specific niche and then adding a logbook. And that way, you know, since you were a trusted source, they'll buy your logbook over somebody else's logbook. It's just like that idea of buying a book from your favorite author. You kind of maybe know what you're getting into, but you know you're going to like it. Like I'll admit it, I'm a Nora Roberts fan, and she has a formula for her books, or whoever writes them has a formula for her books. But when I buy one, I know what I'm getting, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with kind of reading the same story over again because I know I'll still enjoy it. So that's the kind of thing you want to do. You want to build up that trusted author brand, author brand, basically, so that they'll buy your logbook instead of somebody else's. So maybe you start in a less saturated niche than logbooks and add a logbook to your audience. That might be a way to get into the logbook area, or just create a better logbook. I mean, how long have we been trying to create the better mousetrap? There's a better logbook out there. Because people are different, right? Everybody thinks differently. Okay. Unique interior, how to create unique interiors using Affinity Designer. I am learning Affinity, and I know just enough to be really dangerous. I mostly use PowerPoint because I know it really well, but I am trying to learn Affinity. So that's all I've got for you. And I'm slowly learning, really slowly. So I'm not really good. Would pictures you take of a national park get you in trouble for copyright? I would look that up, but I do not think so, as long as you don't have any people in the picture. Like if you had a back or something, nothing distinguishable, you should be fine because it is a national park and it is a picture you took. So it should be fine. Yeah, it should be. But do look that up. I would say yes, but even if not, like, do you know that any national park photos, you can look up the law, but if the national park photos, and there's a ton, look up public domain national park photos. There's literally a ton that are in the public domain, and each national park usually has a section that says, here are all our photos that are totally in the public domain that you can use for whatever purpose. They do give you some rules. You just have to read on each site. Some of them say, as long as it says credited to national park, it's fine. Some say these are all public domain, we don't care. But yeah, it should be fine if you took it yourself and it doesn't have any people in it, and it's a government type, yeah, like a park. So you should be fine with that. But do check. But I would say yes. But do check. I'm not a lawyer. Let's see. What children's niche puzzle is easiest for a beginner? I would probably say the search and find, because they're not too complex. If you could check one out from a library for the younger kids, you'll see it's like the I Spy books. So search and find, I Spy are very similar for the kid books. And I know I Spy was really popular before, but like I said, people use different terms. So search and find may not be as popular, but it's not that it's not as popular. It's different people looking. You know, I would think I Spy, but I would also think search and find. Some people would think only one or only the other when they're searching in the Amazon search bar. But I don't think search and find is quite as popular, but it is, I mean, quite as popular for authors to create books in. But I think it is pretty popular for people to search in. So look up I Spy books, check out some from your library, but they're actually fairly easy to create because you just take the 5, maybe 6 objects that you're going to put there, and you put them somewhere on the page, and then you fill it up with a bunch of other graphics to kind of do it. I was making an activity book the other day, and I said, find the 10 light bulbs. Okay, so I had this really busy picture, and then I took the light bulb, and then I put 10 of them all over, and I made them different sizes. I moved them different directions. And kids really like that. My daughter I actually like doing that with her as an adult because it's kind of fun for me too. So those I think are probably your easiest. Okay. You love Nora Roberts. Family. Yep, I do too. I know. I love romance authors. How do I unpublish my book to change the cover and author name? You can change the cover easily. Just upload a new cover. No problem. If you want to change the author name or the title or the subtitle, you're going to have to unpublish the entire book. You cannot, because that title, subtitle, and author and trim size has been assigned to the Amazon ISBN. You cannot change it. That's just kind of a thing with ISBNs. Once it's been published under that ISBN, it cannot be changed. So you'd have to take it down, unpublish it, and do a completely new book with that title, author name, all that. You can change the cover as long as the title stays the same. You just upload the cover. Super easy. No other KDP answers queries this way. Thanks a lot. I do think the one thing I can offer you guys that is different besides my crazy ideas is that I don't mind, and I don't mind answering questions. Hopefully I don't get stumped, but if I do, I'll let you know. I found that Publisher Rocket Search doesn't always match Amazon search, and it says less than, yeah. I don't look as much at this. I like their competitive score. Okay, so here's the thing. Publisher Rocket's a tool, and it scrapes data from Amazon. Is it a perfect tool that scrapes data from Amazon? No. Is it a time saver to give me some ideas? Yes. But what I really like about a lot of it, like I said, is I looked and said, wow, there is a ton of specific stuff on search and find, but Spot the Difference doesn't. That to me says there is an opportunity in Spot the Difference that has not necessarily been exploited by publishers yet. So because it may be not as popular, that might be true, but I think there's still potential there. So that's what I like Publisher Rocket for a lot of times, is it gives me an overarching view of something and then I can compare fairly easily. And then I kind of do some, specific keyword research and some specific ideas. But I don't get as trapped by the numbers because it's just a tool and it's just to help. I really don't get paralyzed by the numbers. And I know a lot of people really stress about that, but I don't. Sorry. Let's see. Oh, wait, more comments. It's getting lost there. Okay. All right. I don't see any more. Thank you. I do have to go because I have to pick my daughter up from the bus today. They have an early day. So I have to pick her. I have to leave literally in 4 minutes to go get her from the bus so that I don't miss her and they take her back to school. But let me know if you guys have any questions in this on the Facebook page or in this YouTube channel. Oh, yeah, subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you haven't, I do appreciate it. And I will see you all next week. Why are some of your, okay, I'll do that last one. Why are some of your unpublished books showing as sold out? There's a few reasons. You could be in the wrong. So if you're in the US and you're looking at your book on the UK page, it's going to say sold out because it thinks, you're in the wrong country. So you have to be looking at the page within your country, or you can log on to the .com page and look at it. And anyway, and yeah, sorry. It thinks you're in the wrong country. I can't remember the solution off my head right now. But the other reason is sometimes it takes a while for them to get everything going and push through the system. If it's been a few weeks, you can email them and see if they can fix it. If you're looking at it in the same country that you're supposed to be looking at it. So in the US, I always look at mine at .com and it says it's fine, but I have had it sold out. There other could be problems, is they could be having a printing problem with some of their sub printers. This happens a lot at the Christmas time frame. And so they are literally just trying to honestly sell the books that are going to make them the most money. And so they're kind of squishing down and showing things out of stock because they don't have the printing capacity. Fair, not fair. It is Amazon's business, so I guess you can say that's not fair, but they give you the opportunity, and usually it's just fine. That squeeze point right before Christmas, sometimes that happens. Sorry. Thank you. I'm adorable. I think I'm kind of dorky, but I'll take that too. All right. I really do have to go. So thank you so much for being here. I am happy to answer your guys' questions. Yeah, put them in the YouTube channel or whatever, Facebook, and let me know what other questions you guys have, and I'm happy to answer them. All right, I'll see you next week, and maybe another one this week if I get motivated. We'll see. All right, thanks. Bye.